Welcome to Off Brand by CocoKind. I'm Priscilla Tsai, CocoKind's founder and CEO, and each week I get into the real, unfiltered side of building a brand alongside our community and creating substantive beauty products. We don't believe in trying to be anyone but ourselves, and we don't think you should either. So come along as we get real and imperfect, go deeper on topics most beauty companies won't, and get a bit off brand. Hi, everyone. Okay, so quick before we get into today's episode, I did want to do a trigger warning for eating disorders. We have a really special guest, Connie Sobczak from The Body Positive today. She does dive into her history of why she started The Body Positive, which includes a personal experience with eating disorder. So I do want to make sure to call that out. We talk about body positivity, skin positivity, and all the pressures we really deal with physical appearance. So I want to make sure that there is this trigger warning for any of you who are just not ready to hear that conversation, and totally appreciate that. And we want to be as sensitive as possible. So want to make sure I put that out here before we get started on today's episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Off Brand by CocoKind. Today, I am super excited to have a guest. We've only had a couple guests. My sister, we had two team members talk about product development. And so you're kind of our first guest outside of the immediate fam.
How fun.
We are welcoming Connie Sobczak from The Body Positive. We've talked a little bit about Body Positive this year, and we've shared it in the context of Napa trip. We did an amazing activity together. We talked about The Body Positive when we launched our cleansing bar, which we're donating all the net proceeds to The Body Positive. And our story was that last year, I reached out to you because I was looking for organizations that do exactly what you do. And I realized that you were in the Bay Area. And I was like, that couldn't be more perfect, because it's like, yeah, just having an organization that I believe so much in the work that The Body Positive is doing, while being here where we can meet in person and just kind of understand each other and understand the work better. Like, that was a perfect fit to me. So Connie came out and did an amazing exercise and session with our Napa community brand trip members.
Fun,
We got like, I remember people telling us that was like one of the most memorable parts of the trip for them.
Wow.
So it was really, really special, but I would love to spread more of the work that you're doing to our broader virtual audience here, because it's so important. So I wanted to just take a second, if you want to introduce yourself to our community and just tell them a little bit about why you started The Body Positive.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. And I love our collaboration.
Yeah.
It's just been so wonderful. And I had so much fun doing those presentations, and it was very inspiring doing those workshops. Awesome. So I'm Connie Sobczak. I'm the co-founder of The Body Positive. I just changed my role from executive director to program director because we just hired someone new. It's been 30 years since I got the idea for this work. And oh my goodness, what a ride it's been. So I started the work because my sister Stephanie died from complications from her eating disorder. And also she had breast implants that were faulty that poisoned her with silicone. And she developed an autoimmune disease that ended up, no one knew what was going on. This was in the 80s, late 70s. And I also had an eating disorder then and had to heal myself from it because there was no help. And so when Stephanie died, my daughter Carmen was a year old, and I just knew that there was no way I was going to let her grow up in a world where she would think that anything was wrong with her body. And so I didn't know what I was doing, but I just said, I want to do something creative too. So I got the idea to do videos for teens, all in their voices, to just share different ways of being in the body. And then I was really lucky to meet Elizabeth Scott, who's a social worker in Marin County. And we joined forces, and she was trying to get leadership programs started in high schools. So we joined forces, we created the leadership program. We got some grants in the late 90s to really get it going. And then we created these videos with lesson plans to go with them, started with high school. Then we moved to working with college students and working then after that with professionals. And so now we are in 35 countries and
Wow.
45 US states.
Yeah.
We have a really solid, well-tested, evidence-based curriculum now that we use, and to teach our Be Body Positive model. So it's been a really beautiful ride.
That's amazing. I mean, I think when I think about like body positivity, for me, it includes like body and skin and everything. And I feel like it's kind of a universal experience for people, you know, dealing with the insecurities, dealing with just, you know, all types of feelings and pressures, external pressures. And I don't know. It for me, it's been a really big struggle in my life. And so when I see people who are actively trying to educate and bring the kind of awareness of how you manage through like feelings about your physical appearance, that was never taught to me.
Me either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a miss, right? And
Yeah, it's a big
I always
miss.
tell you, like when I was in 7th grade, maybe I was a little bit older, but I just remember being in health class and like I got this pamphlet about things like eating disorders. And I remember then being like this, and like the VHS that they were playing about it, it's like it felt extremely dated. So I can only imagine still how dated that education is when now we are dealing with things like social media, where, you know, teens are spending several hours a day on social media. And that really terrifies me because I just think it's you already see so many images every day, but to now see it on your phone for several hours a day, the idea of like body and skin dysmorphia and just like not feeling good in your own skin is really devastating.
It is. It's frightening. And it's interesting because I also think social media, it's a double-edged sword. I think that one of the things I've seen in the 30 years, because we started this before there was social media. There's actually another body positive close by, and she was doing different work than we were, but we would say, you know, to have someone call me, give my number if, you know, they're looking for you. We didn't have a website, you know, I mean, it was like a long time ago. It's so weird how things have changed so fast. So I think one of the things that's positive is breaking isolation for people who don't see anybody like themselves in their community or who don't talk about their struggles. They don't have anyone to talk to. That's beautiful. And the flip side, I mean, I know how much media influenced how I hated my body when I was young, and that was like Charlie's Angels and, you know, the 70s. I mean, and all the posters and the magazines. And now with it just like right here all the time, it's concerning to me. One of the things we teach at the Body Positive is to young people is intuitive social media use. And so how can we, I mean, just like with teaching people about intuitive eating, how can we use this, do this by constantly saying, how do I feel? Like really helping people wake up to, I want to feel good. And the society that we live in really doesn't support that because of so much of capitalism. And so, I mean, that's why I love what you're doing with your company. You know, it's really so beautiful to meet someone who's running a company who actually cares about the people, right? And that you can sell these beautiful products and you can make a living and also care about people. I mean, that I've had that fantasy since I started the work, you know, so it's really nice because that's not usual. I mean, mostly it's about making us feel bad, so we'll buy something.
Exactly.
And kids don't understand that.
Not at all. And, you know, but going back to what you said about like intuitive social media, like after you taught me that, I really feel like I have adopted that and in a way where like, it's just like having that awareness and that self-check where I will go on and maybe I see a company and they're like doing so well and I get like FOMO or jealousy or whatever. And then I'm like, stop. Like I have like everything that I could ever ask for in the company and the community that we're building. Right. And so, or it'll be an image of someone and I'm like, oh, my my, you know, whatever, it doesn't look like that. And I just like stop. You know, and I feel it. I really feel it. And then I stop, you know, and I just like, I just close the app or whatever. And I spend a lot of time of my day on social media. And so it's funny now because like there is like, you can find your corner of the internet and my corner of the internet is now filled with like husband pranks jokes, because like that's where I like love, like, so I'll be like scrolling and then instead of seeing these images that make me feel really bad, which I might have seen like a couple years ago and like felt really bad about it every time, or just felt like, oh my God, I got to go buy this or that or whatever. Like now I just get served like hilarious content and I engage with it. So all I do is like laugh, and I'm just sending ridiculous memes to my husband or to my friends. And like, that's great. Right. And like, I found my corner of the internet. I also found my corner of the internet with like our community of Coco Kind people who are just like truly unabashedly trying to be ourselves. And I say trying because it takes a lot of effort. In the age of social media and on social media to be yourself. And I even struggle with that where, you know, I don't post that much on my personal profile. And I just like, because I'm very conscious of like, I don't want to pretend like everything is amazing. Right. No, but definitely. I also am like, I just don't know, like I'm still figuring it out on my own profile. And plus I obviously have so much, like I don't even have the time these days. So I'm like, that's children like, and family. Exactly. And like, I don't, you know, personally, and I don't judge people, but like personally, I don't post my children on social either, but they're like my thing that I spend the most time looking at is photos of my kids every day. But, you know, I think for Coco Kind, like we had so much of beauty, like the whole beauty industry is just based on aspirational culture, right? It's like, I mean, I see this like so much on social where it's like, if you want to be in a successful beauty brand, you have to learn like aspirational branding. And that's just a huge, that's like DNA of the beauty industry, truly.
That's really intense.
And like, there are so many successful brands that like I respect a lot, and it's very aspirational, right? Everything is like, you know, the images and everything, like nothing's really changed from back in the day. Instead of magazines though, it's on social media.
Right.
I respect those brands, but it's not Coco Kind, and it's never been, you know, like that whole thing is like, I think above all, it's like, I just hate how that makes people feel. And myself, like I'm thinking about myself, and I just feel like it's like, why should we succumb to aspirational culture? And instead, like, can we actually have a company where the image you see, it's not even about anything specific. It's just you feel like these people are comfortable being themselves.
Right.
And so sometimes we show up, you know, in full makeup, sometimes nothing, sometimes in pajamas, sometimes more dressed up. And it's just kind of like, there's a range that I believe in showing people so that it, just above all, they're kind of like, oh, like I can, whatever it is that maybe I see myself in this or that like in another beauty brand is not necessarily seen, you know.
That's so beautiful. And when you talk about the aspirational culture, it makes me think of how we spend so much time with mindfulness work. Now we're supposed to be in the moment.
Yeah.
But you can't be in the moment and be striving to be somebody that you're not.
Totally.
I mean, it doesn't mean that we don't want to do work on ourselves. If, you know, whatever it is, skin or body, you know, like we want to be feeling comfortable in our bodies and comfortable in our skin. And that there's always room for growth, right? And there's always work to do. And to be so accepting of who we are in this moment. You know, it's for me, like with my skin, I realized so much of like my ruddy skin probably is related to that I'm still having hot flashes for 25 years. I've been having hot flashes. And so like, that's just what it is, you know? And so that's part of me, and accepting that. And then, you know, maybe there's something I can do, but this is who I am. So showing up, I just started. So I haven't been on social media very much, but I just started because of my new work for helping people age soulfully. I started doing these videos on Instagram for Farah Collective that are me like fully exposing myself. So like I'm talking about going skinny dipping in the summer with these, you know, 20 something men that they've grown up with me. I've grown up with them at this lake where I've been going since I was a kid. And this is what we do. And, you know, like, but just wanting to show myself, be vulnerable. I have another one talking about it's really hard now at this stage to exercise when it's hot, like because of, you know, the stage of life I'm in. Life isn't easy, and it's not always going to be what we think it's going to be, even if we strive and get to that place we want.
True.
The other thing about aspirational beauty culture is like, so when you arrive, like how long do you last there, right? It's like, I always think of it like, okay, I got there. Now I'm posed, you know, everybody look at me because I made it. Like, look at me, see, I made it. life just keeps going on and we age and we change.
Totally.
So it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. And I think
it is. It takes away from life.
It does. And when you live your life for the phone, then it, it really takes away from things. And it also creates such a weird, like, I don't know, it's very like dystopian, just like kind of like living two different lives. And so, there's so many positive things with social media and phones and technology and everything. I do think you have to actively find your corner of the internet.
Yeah, for sure.
I always talk about that. And protecting your own peace and learning and just kind of like having the awareness of what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And then you have to really be trying to be yourself, and fight against all the noise.
Yes.
Can you tell people a little bit about the positive embodiment and just like the framework of the body positive?
Yeah, for sure. So we, Elizabeth and I, for probably like close to 10 years, we were doing the work, but constantly asking all the people we worked with, what are the messages you're getting about your body, food, movement, beauty, everything. And then how do those messages make you feel, and how do they influence your self-care? And then what do you want to do to make change in your environment to make it more peaceful for you and to make you be able to be yourself more? And then how can we support you? So that was the research process we went through, and we came up with our Be Body Positive model that has 5 core competencies. So reclaim health, which is really honoring who we come from, whether we know them or not, whether we like them or not. This is who we are. And in terms of our health and our body and our, all the things that we've inherited around that. And then really looking at the mythology around weight and health and understanding that the health world right now doesn't support us in living in the body that we inherited to be healthy, and that it's promoting thinness at all costs, especially now with GLP-1. So that's really scary. So really understanding our genetics that make up the body that we have. And then from there, how do we want to take care of ourselves? Becoming the experts of our own bodies. So doing that really is about practicing intuitive self-care. So it's like what we were talking about, the listening. How do I feel? So trying things out. It's all trial and error. When I healed from my eating disorder, I didn't know how to feed myself at all. And so I started looking at colors and textures and what am I hungry for and what time of year is it? Is it, I want something warm and cozy? Is it, summertime? So just doing that and then making choices and then asking myself, how do I feel afterwards? Sometimes I didn't feel great. I would either eat more than felt good or not enough, or, it's this constant like trying something and then how do I feel? We can do that in relationships. We can do that with social media. We can do it with everything. Coming back to feeling in my body. How do I feel? The way to live by trial and error is to cultivate self-love. So we have to be kind to ourselves when we make quote unquote mistakes. This is how we learn. My mom always said to me, every time I'd call, be like, Mom, I made a mistake. I can't, and she'd be like, good. Now you learn something. So we learn from the things that don't go well. That's generally where we learn. And if we are kind to ourselves, we don't beat ourselves up in that moment, then we can, okay, what was there without all the emotion around it? What can I take from that experience for the next one? So with food, especially, it's like, I'm going to have another meal. Okay, let's try again. It's not perfect. It takes time. It's a long practice. Same with movement. You can do that with movement too. And then declare your own authentic beauty is the 4th competency. And that's coming back to the ancestors. Who are the people all that came back, all the way back to the first human who gave me this body? And then really starting our definition of beauty with ourselves allows us to take ourselves out of the beauty hierarchy. It's not about conceit. It's not about like, I'm beautiful, and I've got it all. It's like, then I can see beauty everywhere. When I start with myself at this stage of life, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, then like there's so much beauty in the world and in all the diversity of humans. And I see so much more because I'm not trying to compete or compare myself. And I love that part. And then the 5th competency is build community. So like what you're talking about with your community with CocoCon, you're creating a space where people can come and show up authentically. And that's really a beautiful thing. So those are the 5 competencies. competencies. And then we've created this curriculum
Right.
to work with middle school
Educators.
students.
Yeah.
So educators do it, high school students, they do the trainings too.
Awesome.
They teach their peers, college students, and then adults
Yeah.
in all sorts of ways. We
Yeah.
have yoga people teaching our work. We
Yeah.
have, professionals, therapists, dietitians. It's really,
Yeah.
it's for anybody. And then it can be adapted.
Yeah.
Because we honor that each person who's doing the work has their own wisdom and creativity
Yeah.
and knows their population.
Yeah.
So
Totally. And
It's-
the
yeah.
amount of people that you guys have touched and trained and educated, it's like really unbelievable.
it is.
Yeah.
And the ripples, because like I hear from parents sometimes like, you worked with my daughter and then, she taught me or, my son did this or, a father saying to us, I learned so much. It's really been amazing. So
Yeah.
I don't even know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
No,
like you said, like, if you compare yourself to other companies,
Totally.
like we're still sort of underground in a way, like we're known and there's
Yeah.
a body positivity movement,
Right.
which isn't the body positive necessarily.
Right.
It's many things
Yeah.
and many people, and some I like, some I don't.
Yeah.
But the body positive influence, I know it's been huge. And I just can't measure every single bit of it.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
I trust that the work has made a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, it absolutely has. Yeah. I think it's really important. And, to give people tools, that's like a forever thing,
Yeah.
like once
Yeah.
you learn it, you can't unlearn it.
Right, exactly.
And
Yeah.
so it doesn't mean you don't face the every single day, if not hour, challenges
Exactly.
of, getting something thrown in your face that makes
Right.
you forget about self-love
Right.
or to see your flaws
Yeah.
in magnifying glass.
Yes.
I actually had a question for you. Like part of the body positive movement and skin positivity movement too, there's some people who rightfully, I think, say like, no, I'm not going to love my acne. No, I'm not going to love this part of my body that I feel like is a flaw. Like I'm not, that's like toxic positivity.
Right. Exactly.
So
That's
how-
not what we are
Yeah.
at all.
So can you like talk a little bit
Yes.
about that? Because I do think it's unrealistic to be like, oh my God, I love this.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean?
And that's why the body
Yeah.
neutrality movement started. And
right,
it's sort of like
exactly.
body positivity is bad,
Totally.
which is really bothers me. But
Yeah.
it's like the language
Right.
around it.
It's the
it's
language.
like, yeah. And so much of body positivity in the social media world is about love yourself and everything. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
We're saying show up as you are.
Show up as you are.
So
Yeah.
for me, body positivity can include the days when I feel like shit.
Yeah.
It can include the days when I'm just like, I don't like
Yeah.
myself. So what I have realized is for me, this is for me, I have love first. So I love my whole body, because it gives me life.
Yeah.
Then acceptance. So love first, then acceptance, tolerating the things, right? That society has told us are bad and wrong.
Yeah.
So there are many days when it's acceptance.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
not,
it's acceptance.
but it's not neutral.
Yeah.
I can't be neutral about anything. And I
yeah,
can't be neutral
right.
about my body because I'm really grateful I'm alive
Yeah.
and that I have a body.
Totally.
And not that means every day is easy still. But what I think of as self-love is like these loving arms are around me, even on the days when I'm struggling. And it's kind of like the ultimate parent,
Yes.
like, it's okay. I see you. I got you.
Yeah.
And I think about it with my grandson, like
For
when he's,
sure.
having a little moment, I'm just like, I got you.
Yeah.
And I feel that like, that's what I think of as self-love.
Yeah.
So it's there for me, even when I'm not feeling it in my present self, but it's something bigger that's around me.
Right.
And my goal is to create a nonviolent space inside of myself. I want to have nonviolent communication with myself. I want to have a place that the world is hard enough. I want to come home to this place of where I feel safe. And it's not always there. We have to clean our closets, houses get messy. That's how I always think about it. It's like, this is home, but it gets messy. There's work to do at times.
Yeah.
And then we dig in. Okay,
Yeah.
got to clean,
Totally.
got to learn, got to grow.
Right.
But the goal is to really love myself because I'm here and I'm a human.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's like turning it into the self-love versus the,
Toxic
yeah,
positivity.
all that.
That stuff is just like, be
Totally.
positive. All that. I feel horrible
Right.
sometimes. Not so much, as I was like moving through my 50s, late 50s and into my 60s, it was hard. It was like big body changes, big skin changes, all the stuff. And so one of the things that I decided to do was see myself as a natural wonder. So I love, this mountain I'm talking about where I go skinny dipping, right? Like I've been doing that since I was 14.
Yeah.
So there's no body shame.
Yeah,
like there's no body
right.
shame with these people.
Right.
These two men that I was with, they were young and I had never hiked with them before. And we ran into each other on the mountain. And I got to the spot and I went, what do I do? Do I do what I normally do? And I was like, yeah, I do what I normally do. And I said, and one of them said, so I just want to say, I swim here naked. And one said, oh, we won't look. And I said, I don't care if you look, but if you're freaked out about seeing an old body, then maybe you don't want to look, right? We can have fun with it, Totally. But what I feel like being on that mountain where I've been going and climbing since I was a kid is like, I see my skin as the tree bark, my hands are changing. Yeah, they're going to change. And at first it was like, I don't want this to happen. Yeah. The wrinkles, whatever it is, when it first happens, it's like, no, I don't want this, or my eyes, or, whatever it is, like whatever all the different flaws, that come with aging. And so then to be able to just be like, I love granite. I love granite. And okay, my face is kind of like granite. And I took this one picture of my face next to some granite and it had color in it. The first time I saw the picture, I freaked out. But then I went, wait, I love granite. And then I saw my face, and then I saw the granite, and then I saw my face, and it was like, I'm just part of the earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So, okay.
Right.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
And it helps so much.
Absolutely.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful way.
Totally.
Like this, I did this workshop, and one woman who's quite large was saying she couldn't see herself in earth anywhere, but she said, I'm a full moon.
Yeah.
And then like the next night I saw the full moon and I thought of her and I was like, oh,
yeah,
how beautiful. I have chills just thinking.
Totally.
This is not a regular ad. This is a cool ad. And actually, it's not really an ad at all. I just want to say, because I know so many of the people who listen to this podcast are some of our most loyal customers. We just finished our huge Black Friday sale, and I don't even have the results yet. I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you to all of you who support us, who shop us at cocokind.com or go to our retailers. Like, the holidays end up being a really big part of our business, and we are just so grateful for the support. As an independent business, it really means a lot. And I know that dollars are hard to come by and we're all feeling a little bit pressured. So this year, more than ever, I really just want to say thank you. And even if you didn't buy us during our sale, I also just want to say thank you, because the fact that you're here listening to this podcast, it truly means so much. And we are just so thankful for you.
What do you think about, you mentioned before the idea of like people wanting to grow, people wanting to like, do something, feel good. Like, so like, I'm curious. And you also mentioned GLP, and I'm just curious, like, how do you feel about when people are like, I want to do Botox because I'm really uncomfortable with like the growing wrinkles around my eyes, or like I want to go to the gym because whatever, like, how do you, I guess, like, where's the line between, like, in your view of things that people should kind of do because they want to do, and like, without judgment, right? Like, that's, I do personally like get a little bit confused about that these days, even for myself, because I'm like, I do feel like I should be able to do whatever I want to do.
Of course.
But I also am like I'm like, wait, where is this coming from? And is this like, like, I don't know, like, I'm almost like, am I judging myself? Like, know, like, and I just like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I think that each one of us gets to make decisions for our own body.
Yeah.
So there's a Dalai Lama quote that I love is the absence of judgment. So not that I'm not judgmental at times, and I work at it. I feel like if we're each really honest with ourselves, what is my motivation for this? Am I doing this for myself because I really want to? Like going to the gym, people, I just want to be healthy. So they, get obsessive or whatever. My nephew's the son of my sister who died. He's a personal trainer and has worked with a lot of people. And he's like, you go to the gym so you can then live your life. You don't go to the gym to be a gym rat. You want to be able to get strong, to use your body in other ways. Yeah. So thinking about how far is too far. Again, listening. How do I feel?
Right.
Okay, I got Botox. How do I feel about doing that? Did I change how I look? Does that freak out my family?
Right.
Is anybody else? Like, or do I think that it's beautiful because some like cultural stuff has said that, doing all this stuff and making sure everything is like that all the time is beautiful. Personally, it's not for me.
Yeah.
When I see some like Hollywood stars who have transformed their faces so much that I don't recognize them, it makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Especially the older ones. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
And there was a Jane Fonda interview on Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast, Wiser Than Me. And Jane said, I wish I hadn't touched my face.
Yeah.
And then Julia's comment was, yeah, but you look great.
Yeah.
And that made me really sad because it was a really vulnerable moment for Jane to say, okay, fine. She looks fine, but it's not her old self. And being a woman who's moving into old age, like to be able to say, this is my face.
Yeah.
That for me is important. But for others, I really am like, I don't care what you do with your body. It's not up to me.
Totally.
How are you feeling about it?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I truly believe that like people, women, I mean, really everybody should be able to do whatever they want without judgment.
Absolutely.
And like, I think that is, you never know the story behind someone's decisions. I've lived that firsthand, and like, I would never want to be judged for something that, you just did in a moment of like feeling extreme insecurity,
of course,
and like, we know that is like a universal experience.
Yeah.
And so, I feel because of, I guess, like how I know insecurities impact people, including myself, that I just like, I get it,
Yeah. Oh, me too.
At the same time, it's like, I don't know, like I've gotten Botox before around my eyes. I don't talk about it on social media though, because there's something weird about it where I don't feel comfortable being like out and open about it just on social, because I don't want it to seem like I'm promoting that. Cause it's like on one hand, I'm like I feel good that I would just like say that to anybody, right? Like I would say that to tell anybody that I've tried it. I actually don't like it because I do feel like it makes me look a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also like, it's good to be transparent, but I also didn't know that it would impact other people. And maybe they'd be like, oh, well, P said she do it. So like, I think, like P's really open about things. And I like her philosophy on, being like vulnerable and open and, on skincare and everything. So maybe I should try it and I want to try it. And so then I'm like, I just get uncomfortable with that. And I don't want my experience to be somebody else's experience. And so, I have like a really very TBD, I'm like not totally sure, but I know that like the only thing I know for sure is just like having people do what they want without judgment is like really important to me.
Very
one way
so.
or the other, and I think it's just to your point, it's like having that self-awareness and like, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for something else? And I don't know, it's just trying to check in with oneself. And also like to your point, I do feel like the older I get, the more I get comfortable. And I wish that that's the thing that I wish that, the youth doesn't understand or appreciate, right? Like the 19-year-old, the 20-year-old, the 25-year-old, the 30-year-old even, right? It's like the way I feel about myself at 37 is completely different than even 5 years ago. And for sure 10 years ago. And so I wish that like the decisions and kind of the way that I treated myself, like looked at myself and everything like 10, 12 years ago, is so like, harmful. And I just, I look back at that and I'm like, wow, like there's so much, I wish that we could like, it's like just inject in the youth.
I know.
Because you see it happen real time. But I guess that's a little bit
That's what we do.
That's what we do. And it's also a little bit of a universal experience of everybody has to learn it for themselves. And then you grow up and you're like, oh yeah, like why was I freaking out about that? Or like, cared so much about like hiding my acne. I would like just like bring around a bottle of foundation everywhere and like, literally everywhere. In the middle of dinner, I'd go put on foundation in the dark bathroom in a restaurant. Like, it's just like so, in my head about all the things. Never, ever felt comfortable, like, just like, kind of being out there. And I think that the kind of self-talk to myself then, I'm like, I look back at now and I'm like, wow, like, I just wish that I had better perspective then, but I know that is the gift of aging too, right? It's like the fact that you can be more comfortable with yourself, and all of those things that take shape in different ways now. Like I might, less with acne for me today, more with wrinkles and stuff like that. And, but I think it's like the gift of aging is you come into yourself more and you have a perspective that is more appreciative of like the everyday and who you are and your appearance and your being and everything in between.
And that's why we have the Body Positive.
Yeah.
Because this is what we talk about with young people,
Yeah.
Middle school, high school. They can have it, and they do, and that's the beautiful thing with our program, and that I've seen, because now our oldest leaders that we started with are in their mid 40s.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're older than you are, and I'm like, they have different lives. I don't, see all of them every day, and I'm curious how all of them are moving into like middle age and stuff. But like I'm working with some still in their 20s who in their teens realize it's okay to show my belly rolls.
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh, I can just show up as I am.
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose of the Body Positive.
Yeah.
For a young person to do that, for an old person, no matter what stage of life you're in. Again, what's important to you? What are the influences from the outside world that make us feel like we're supposed to fix, change? What do we want to do for ourselves? And then try it all out and see what works and see how we feel. And then try again the next day. Right.
And tweak,
Yeah. And, I can say at 65, it's so much nicer. I mean, oh my God, the feeling of like, I really don't care what people think of me anymore. It's really fun. I don't feel invisible. Which is what a lot of people feel at my age, women especially. They're like, I feel invisible. Yeah. It's like, well, that is a choice too. Like I'm never going to be invisible. Because I am. But there are moments when I can be invisible. I feel like I have an old age invisibility cloak now that I can put on. Like, I don't feel like engaging with the world now. Yeah. Where maybe when I was younger, that wasn't a possibility because people, were, more pressures. And so it's fun, but I do believe that my goal is for young people to be able to have these, and yes, they will feel more comfortable as they grow older because that just happens, but they can also feel comfortable now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think that is so important. And, educating young people, educating parents, educating educators, and that's exactly what you're doing. And, as a parent now myself, like I, growing up in a family where there was a lot of pressure, to look and perform and to, all the, just kind of do everything, be everything, look like, everything. Yes. It's definitely impacted like me and my sister, and I had my sister on the podcast and like we talked a lot about that, but it's like something where I would feel strongly now. To be honest, I'm a little bit scared of myself, if that is like makes sense. Like I don't feel like I've been tested yet as a parent on how do I deal with this, because my babies are still really young. I have an almost 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So it's not like they're like out in the world and like doing all this stuff. So I don't really feel tested yet where I have to like literally practice what I've like learned and what I've like and to like actually practice what I've fought against that I dealt with from my, situation and my experiences. And I do feel like I already know that like in practice will be harder than what I think now. Like what I think now is it would be like, oh, my kids can, like, I want them to feel loved all the time. I want them to feel like amazing. I want them to have that self-love and everything. And like, if like they come home with like a D on a test, like, am I going to be like, I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like I'm still to be tested there because they're so young, and I have to figure it out as a parent, but for sure, like anything like appearance related, I'm very sensitive to, because of my experiences, but I still feel like I'm going to be tested because my kids are going to be dealing with social media when they're like freaking, I don't know. Like,
I know.
Someone was telling me that like they're in their community, like their kids weren't on social media at like some ridiculous age, like 10. But because of that and everybody else was, they were actually ostracized even further
because they weren't on it.
Because they weren't on it and they weren't a part of the kid community. Like, just like all these like inside jokes and this and that. And so then that was like, they felt like they had to, because their kids were getting like bullied because of just not being in the group.
Right.
And so you're just like, oh my God, it's like so impossible.
Right. This is why I want body positive programs in every single school. And we're working on getting our elementary school. We ran out of money from our last funding to finish. We just finished a new classroom, 6 through 8, but I really want kindergarten through 5th as well. We actually have a video for kindergarten through 3rd graders that's old, but I'm going to bring that back around
really
a parent.
Like I told you in the beginning, like I feel like this should be state and like country mandated.
It should be.
It's like ridiculous.
Right. And it does reduce bullying.
Oh my God, totally. Yeah. And it also, it's like, I'm tired of the pamphlets, like we got to get with it. The kids
or the one-off presentation.
Yeah,
can you come and talk to our kids in an assembly? It's like, no, I actually can't.
No.
Because you need to be trained.
Totally.
You need to have this conversation all the time. And to your point about being a parent, it's hard if you're just the parent. Your kids are out in the world, right?
Exactly.
So for Carmen,
you can't do it by yourself.
Right. She grew up with the beginning of the body positive.
Right.
Social media wasn't as big a thing to say that, but when Facebook came out, the thing about her was she listened, like she self-selected out of movies that she didn't feel comfortable watching because she was already in tune with how she felt, just because of being like an intuitive eater. And then also listening to me talk about this work with everywhere I went, like her teachers, she came and spoke with me at conferences. So it was just part of her. And then all of her friends, we would be in carpools and we would talk about it. It was funny because coming over, I got off the ferry, but driving over to your house, all the billboards are now all AI, they're all tech. But when I used to drive Carmen and her friends over to the San Francisco for San Francisco Girls Chorus singing, and I drove them 3 times a week, all the billboards were beauty stuff. They were fashion. And they were like the women with their legs spread apart, and their, lips and like looking at, and it was like, so we would talk about the billboards and we would name them and we would laugh. But I did media literacy with them all the time. Any carpool I was on.
That's so smart.
But it's just so funny now. It's all tech. It just cracked me up.
It is.
But that's part of it, is just exposing them, talking about it, listening to them. How does that make you feel? It makes me really sad that so many people in the world don't like themselves, if you hear them starting. And like, here's what can be done, but then going to the school and saying, I demand that you bring a program in to talk about this. And, let's talk about weight and health in a different way. Let's not ostracize any child. Let's not make anybody good or bad, and let's talk about what real health can be, what that means. What does it mean for someone who doesn't have money too, right? They can't feed themselves in the way that other people can. So there's so many components to it.
God. It's a whole, it's like so much education, it's like lifelong
it is.
education. And that's so much like, more important than so many other things that are like taught. I remember talking to my sister-in-law who I introduced you to, Jess, who's an educator in Sacramento. And it's just like the feelings of like, we need this, we don't have this, and really like this is like imperative for this next generation. It is basic health, like it is health class, and I feel so strongly about that. So if anybody in the CocoKind community has like ties or connections to like legislators, I know I actually do, but anybody out there who can help like spread the message of trying to get like the body positive into schools, not as a one-off, but as like a repeated like educational course. In addition to, of course, I want you guys to check out the Body Positive's website, because there's courses that you can take today. And like I said, like it changed how I just like have that self-awareness and check for myself. So I highly recommend it. But I absolutely feel like kids should be learning this in school, and it would be a huge help to parents.
Yes, it would. It makes it so much easier for the parents.
And I've seen some of the videos that you have of young people talking about what they learn, and it's like the coolest thing ever. I'm like, wow, this person is goals. Like they're like 16 years old teaching me, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so inspired by her level of self-awareness, self-love, like her passion for herself, and like learning this, like let's make that cool, not like the hey, let's like all skip lunch today.
Right. And that's why so much of our program is peer-to-peer education. And so in the high schools, training peers to talk to their, fellow classmates. And all the way from the beginning, I just remember I was working at a school in San Diego, and like I would come back every year this is when it was all in person, and I'd come back and I'd see the students from the year before who had just joined. And that year they were sitting there and they were nervous and they didn't feel comfortable in their bodies, but they were the other ones who had been around for a while are just kind of like, you can just feel in their body language.
Yeah.
And then I'd come back the next year, and those ones that were all nervous were just like, you could just feel like this embodiment. It's embodiment.
Yeah,
it's full
totally.
on positive embodiment, which is not body image. It's the whole being.
Yeah.
And I remember I would ask, and I said, why did you join? And one of them said, I joined because I want what she had. And I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. It's like the energy of it all.
And I wanted what Cassie had. And then realizing it's self-love. Not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not about being okay every day, but it's like that, what I said, like the arms around you. And they had it. And then they could focus on their lives. And watching what they would do, like getting to college, that group I was with them, part of their group for 4 years, because they started at and it was a school that started with their freshman class and brand new. And like they were taking on women's, the whole women's studies, or whatever department, like when they got to college, they were all the programming, and like they just had this confidence because they could express themselves.
Yeah, totally. And it's so interesting too on social media today. Like I see this a lot because so many people are creating content, and, there's such a desire these days for people to be creators. And,
yes,
the thing that I love the most about the creators whom I love the most is that they like are themselves, and you can tell, and it's that feeling of like, I want what she has. More than the skincare recommendations, more than the makeup tutorials, more than whatever. And they could be doing no makeup, or they could be doing 30 steps. Like when I see that in somebody where I'm like, oh, wow, that's really cool. She's like herself. I love that.
Yeah.
At the same token, or on the other side, like I see videos of people who are like sounding like somebody else, or wanting to be like this, and using the same hand motions, and trying to do this and trying to be that. And like, that's why we like have a big kind of like effort on being like, you don't need thousands, if not millions of followers to be seen here. We don't want you to be pressured to like have a verified Instagram account. We don't want you to feel pressured to like sound like and be like this like influencer who has millions of followers. Like just trust me, like you will be seen as yourself, right? Like just be yourself. And that is like, I don't know, it's so hard. It's just so hard. And I get it, because we're just like seeing all these videos every single day. And it's like, I just want people to like do the things and show up as themselves, but it's hard. It's like, I see it every day of like that either sometimes happening and me being so inspired, and then so many of just being like, I could see that the overall like just influence of culture, coming into play here. And I would encourage everybody just to like fight to be yourself, like learn to be yourself. I didn't have that. I still have to learn that every day. I'm still, but like for sure today, I'm so much more like I have fought to be myself, and so I'm really appreciative of the work you do, and the work we've literally been doing for decades, which is like badass, and like
and continuing, shifting. The body positives continuing. And then at this stage of my life, I also want to help people age soulfully. So that's why I'm starting my new work. So
it's amazing.
I just have to say, because I haven't been on social media. I've posted occasionally, and my daughter laughs at me for what I post, but usually flowers. But, my personal Instagram. So it's Fera, F-E-R-A, which means wild and untamed in Latin, right? My daughter also helped me do that. She took 4 years of Latin in high school. But Fera Collective. So being around people who are choosing to be wild in this way, not of like out of control wild, but like grounded into the earth, free to be myself. That's what I'm looking. So posting my first 4 videos. I haven't launched anything yet, but I put 4 videos up, and it's really intense, because I am so myself, I just most of them, I have a baseball cap on, backwards, and I'm out in nature and stuff, just kind of talking. But somebody said to me, like, you should make 100 videos in 100 days, and I was like, I don't feel like I have something to say every day.
Yeah.
So that's part of being myself too,
Yeah.
is like, I'm going to speak when I have something to say.
Right.
I don't want to just speak just because I want to
Totally.
influence people. I just want to share wisdom that a lot of it I got from my own mom, who died last year. And like, let's just have a conversation about how hard it is to be human sometimes, and how can we have more peace and freedom.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining the podcast
my
today.
pleasure.
Like I really believe so much in the work that you are doing and you've done. And I think that so many of our customers and community will really like hear themselves in some of the struggles and the desires to be themselves and like all of that. Like that is like the heart of the Coco Pen community, which is why I feel like we're really unique.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Cool.
I know. So cool.
But it's like really at the heart of, I think I love just the words like free to be yourself. Like I really, really love that.
Yeah.
And that's, if I could sum up like what we're trying to do, it's just like to promote people being free to be themselves,
Yes, exactly.
So thank you so much.
That's my pleasure.
And we'll have to check back in.
We will.
And
can I say one thing? I'm actually doing a free event on December 11th for Farah Collective.
Where is it?
It's online.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so that's like my new work. And then the Body Positive, check out all the courses and everything.
Check out all the courses.
And if